What's good, everybody? Is gonna come back at you another video. So this video is going to be words to live by. This video is going to be a lot of wisdom, and I've touched upon this in minor detail in many of the prior videos, but I haven't really recorded an actual standalone video for this. So I'm happy to finally be doing it. So topic of this video is that your past does not dictate your future. Now I understand you as a viewer, you understand there's a difference between the past and the future, right? Obviously, two different times, right? Past already happened, future has yet to unfold. Many of you watching the video will say, well, obviously, Joel, they're completely different. The past happened and the future has yet to unfold. So, duh. But what you need to remember is this, right? To know and to not do is to not know at all. What this means is people are quick to say, yeah, I know this. Yeah, I know this. Yeah, I know this. But they're not living by it, right? So you can't say you know something if you're not living by it, right? You can't, if you acquire all this knowledge, but you don't change anything about yourself, you don't change the way you think, you don't change the way you operate, you don't change the way you do things, right? Then did you ever really acquire knowledge? Because the point of obtaining information is to make changes, is to improve, is to get better, right? That's why we acquire new knowledge, to learn more about ourselves and to change and to improve and to be better. So many people will say, I know this. Clearly, the past is the past. The future hasn't happened. So, of course, the past doesn't dictate the future. But most people are not aware that by them living in the past, it's what's ultimately creating their future to be more like the past. The past does not need to have any bearing on the future, right? Your past doesn't determine your future. It's just that because people choose to live in the past, then their future ends up becoming more of the past, right? Rather than them creating the future how they want it to be. Now, of course, if your past was very great and your present isn't as great and you want things to go back to the past and how they used to be, then of course, if you focus your attention on that, then you will get more of that by law, right? So then that's how your future becomes more like your past. However, people are not aware that they can actively create a new future for themselves, right? That each and every moment is actually a brand new moment. It's actually a clean slate for you to determine and decide where it is that you want to go, right? You have this power because you have a mind. With your mind, you can think for yourself. You have free will. You have the ability to think for yourself. We are one of the few creatures on this planet that can think for ourselves. You can ration, you can reason, right? You have that mind, but you also have another extraordinary power, which is the power of imagination. And with the power of imagination, you can create whatever it is that you want to create. The problem with this is that there are so many people out there who are not aware of this power, and they use their imagination to simply create more of what they've already seen and experienced. Think about it. You have the power to create anything in your mind, and yet you're using this power to create more of what you've already seen and experienced. If I use an example, right? One of my mentors, God rest his soul, Bob Proctor, he passed away a few years ago, and he was probably close to the age of 90 or so. But he's was one of the industry leaders and the pioneers of, he was one of the big industry leaders on the personal development space. And I've studied his work. Of course, I've purchased his material. I've studied his work. And he has a lot of free content on YouTube. So I highly recommend, if you guys are truly passionate about personal development, highly recommend you check out Bob Proctor. He, was able to reach multimillionaire status. He's been able to travel the world. He has friends all over the world. He's impacted the lives of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of people all around the world. And Bob, he had a challenging journey at the beginning of his life, right? He never had an education. So remember, because a couple years ago he passed away at 90, he was born, a long time ago, pretty much. And he, as a kid, he struggled through school. He didn't have more than a 5th grade education. And all throughout his life, he, worked job to job. And basically, when he got to 26 years old, he earned, his story that he shares, he earns $4,000 a year at this point in his life. But he was in debt $6,000. So he can work the entire year and yet he was still be in debt because what he brought in was not more than what he owed. And he would explain that this, at the age of 26, he came across who eventually became his mentor, an individual named Ray Stanford. And Ray kept drilling into Bob Proctor's head that the past has no bearing on the future. The past does not dictate the future. And the reason he kept telling Bob this is because when Bob would talk about his life, Bob would explain to Ray that he was unhappy, that, you know, he didn't have an education, that he was frustrated with everything, that he, you know, that he was a loser, that like nothing he did ever worked, that he was a failure, right? So these are the ideas and the thoughts that Bob Proctor had, and the reason why, those were his beliefs. And what you need to remember is a belief is just a thought you think over and over and over. So these are the beliefs that Bob held about himself, because while he was explaining to Ray, he was crying, right? Because he was so frustrated with where his life was, the position that he was in, and he wanted more out of life. He didn't want to be in debt. He wanted to have financial abundance. He wanted to, of course, have an impact on the world. He wanted to do so much more than where he actually was at. And so that's when Ray kept drilling into his mind, your past does not dictate your future, right? If in this moment, right, Bob Proctor's 26 years old, only has a 5th grade education, he could read, not very well, but he could read, and he was in debt, right? If Bob kept those same beliefs about himself and operated the rest of his life with those same beliefs, right? Believing that he was a loser, believing that he was a failure, believing that he wasn't good enough, he would have lived a life that reflected those beliefs, right? Because those were the beliefs that he currently had and the beliefs of his past. But it was when his mentor kept highlighting to him, your past does not dictate your future. He was highlighting to Bob that every moment is a brand new moment, and at any moment you can decide to change this, and you can decide to be an operating brand new. You can use your imagination to create the version of you that you want to see, that you want to exist, right? And most people are not aware of that, because most people wake up and still show up as the same person with the negative attitude, with the negative beliefs about themselves and the world. And then they wonder why things don't improve for them, right? Use your imagination for something positive, right? And you see it all the time. You see it all the time. If I use another perfect example, you see it all the time in the dating scene, where people can have gone through a few partners and those relationships didn't work out because, let's say, their partner cheated on them, right? And so now when they're going through, dating new partners, they're taking the same baggage and the same negative stories and experiences from those relationships and bringing it to the new person, right? So they could be a new person who is absolutely great, super phenomenal person. They're very caring. They're like, this person is ready to be in a relationship. But the current person that got cheated on, right, many times, they don't give the new person a fair chance because of the baggage, the problem that they've experienced in the past, right? That person is allowing their past to dictate their future, because they can have a perfectly good person standing right in front of them, but they won't fully see that because they'll see the bad qualities about their previous relationships in that person, in that new person, right? I've had instances like this, and this wasn't in a relationship, but I have instances like this too, where I went out, it was like some sort of social event, and I'm going out and I'm talking to people and I'm meeting new people, and I met this woman and we were having a great conversation, right? Like, we're making each other laugh, like we just met, right? And we're having a great conversation, cool. And then she asks me for my zodiac sign, and I tell her that I'm a Scorpio because I'm born in middle of November, right? My birthday is November 14th, and I'm a Scorpio, right? I don't think I had the power to decide when I was gonna be born, right? Like, I'm pretty sure it's up to my parents when they wanted to, settle on to have a kid, and whenever I decide to pop out, right? I probably didn't have full control of when I was gonna be born. And so because of this, right? Because she found out my zodiac sign, she immediately was like, oh no, like we can't be friends. I'm not compatible with Scorpios. And so I was left confused, like, but I let it be, right? Because whatever experience that she's had in the past, she's allowing that to dictate her future. And I know that I'm a great person. I know that I operate with high values like moral integrity, honesty, all these great qualities about myself, and I'm proud of the person I am. I knew that I'm a great person, so I knew that whoever it is I'm gonna be, right, that I'm going to have a fun, honest, genuine friendship or relationship with. And an instance like that happened, and this was someone who, whatever experience they had with Scorpios, or this person might just be super into zodiac signs. They're trying to find the match that matches with their sign, whatever it is, right? I think it's all mumbo jumbo anyways, but this is what I mean. These, like, there's people out there who will say that the past, that we know the past and the futures, and it has yet to unfold. But so many people live their lives allowing the past to dictate their future. So many people carry the baggage and the problems that they've experienced in the past and continue to bring it into the present moment, the now, and will continue to take it into the future. That's just how it is. And until you realize this, you will be doing this, right? Until you realize this, you will begin, well, most people, because they're oblivious to it, that is why their future continues to unfold like their past did, because they continue to hold on to the past. They keep focusing on the past, right? Because a lot of these bad events, these bad things that's happened, people place their attention on it and they keep focusing on it. And they keep focusing on it. And so because their attention's on it, that's what they get more of, right? Imagine meeting someone and having a great conversation with the person and then dismissing them because of a zodiac sign, which is just something that they themselves can't control, right? Like that's strange. And people will say, oh, well, it's your zodiac sign that determines who you are as a person. I disagree, because I can use my imagination to create whatever version of a human being that I want to in my mind, right? I can see great qualities about other people and decide I want to adopt these qualities and make myself better, right? I can do that. I have that power. But most people will be led to believe that they're not in control of their lives because of a zodiac sign that determines who they are as a person, and they'll eat it up, right? I don't believe that. I had never have and I never will, right? But this is what I mean, right? So many people, they'll say that they know that the past doesn't influence the future, and yet they will still allow it to. They will still find moments and instances of bad things that's happened in the past, and they will make their future decisions based on that. The person who got cheated on a bunch of times can have a perfectly good person right in front of them, but yet they'll never give that person a fair chance because of the baggage from their previous relationships, right? They want new relationships. They want to find, their fiance, their husband, their soulmate, but they don't even give the person in front of them a fair chance because of what they dealt with in the past. And then when that perfectly good person decides to walk away or step away because they see that this person that pretends to be ready to be in a new relationship isn't ready because they're still dealing with the problems of the past, they'll wonder why, right? It's because there's plenty of people who are allowing their past to dictate their future. You need to remember, if you've been through struggle, difficulties, whatever it is in the past, you can choose right now to begin a new life. You can choose to hit the reset button and to have a future that was better than what you've experienced in the past. You can do that, because each and every moment is a new moment. You don't have to wait until the symbolic new, right, till January 1st, right? You don't have to wait till New Year's to have a symbolic fresh start. You don't have to wait next month or next week, right? You can begin right now. You can begin showing up with the right attitude and the right energy. You can begin using your imagination to create the person that you want to become, create the best version of you, and then show up each and every day as that person, right? You can choose to use your imagination to create the life that you want to be living and focus your attention on that and do what you think you should be doing in order to get there. Do what you think. You create a new life, right? And you create the new version of you that's living that new life. Do what you think that new version of you should be doing. That will help you get closer to living that, right? Start living in your purpose. Start being happy. Start showing up, believing that the best days are ahead of you, right? That better days are ahead of you, right? Because many people live life very pessimistically, right? Be optimistic. root for yourself, believe that good things are on the way, that good things are on the horizon, right? Once again, with the example with Bob Proctor, just imagine believing all this when you're 26 years old, believing that you're not good enough, believing that that you're set up to fail, that you're just a failure, right? If you believe that you're a failure, then your future is going to be like your past, right? Where everything always failed because you believe that. If you change the belief, if you change the mindset, if you understand that every moment's a new moment, you're going to get excited because then you realize, like, my future doesn't have to be my past. My future, I can actively create the future that I want to see and experience. And then that's when you show up excited. You show up with a new mindset, a new mentality, new energy. You show up with a fresh mindset. You show up open-minded. You show up eager to learn new information, eager to learn about yourself, eager to learn about the world around you, eager for it all, eager to experience life because you know that there's so much good that there is to experience, right? Some people don't look forward to the future because they've gone through so much in the past and they already are believed and sold on the idea that the future is going to be like the past because they've experienced so much in the past. So they're like, oh, well, what's the point of looking forward to the future if it's going to be more like the past? It's because this person is focused on the past. They think all of these events happen. And so because all these events happen, therefore, and this is all the evidence I've collected about life, therefore the future is going to be more of this evidence because all their eyes on this. Well, why not focus on a new target? Why not focus on new evidence? And if you can't see evidence right now, use your mind, use your imagination, use the internet, right? Look at the homes that you want. Look at the travel destinations you want to visit. Like, I've had moments where I needed like a little pick me up, and so I began, looking at vacation destinations, and I felt like when I was doing that, it brought a tear to my eye because I'm like, wow, there's still so much of the world I have yet to see. And there's some people who live their whole lives in like a small town in a specific city and like have never gone out to see the world. And I'm by no means have I like been traveling that much, but it's just, you see all these monuments, you see all these great things, beautiful things. It's like, wow, like I would like to do that, right? It sort of gives you hope. It gives you just a reason to want to wake up and show up and go after and do something great, right? So you just need to remember this: your past does not dictate your future. If you felt bad about yourself, you don't need to keep feeling bad about yourself. You don't have to. You can take a deep breath and let it go, right? Because your shoulders are going to feel so much lighter once you give up the baggage, right? Tap into your greatness and step into your worthiness, right? Because you are here, because you exist, you are worthy. You are deserving of it all. So if you believe you are deserving of it all, you're not going to settle for less because you know that if you could have it all, deserve it all, you are only going to settle for what's best for you. So why would you settle for less, right? You won't. But people settle for less because they believe that things aren't going to change. They believe that the past is what determines the future because they go off of the evidence that they see. They go off the facts of their life, the information that's already unfolded in their life, when that's not the correct way to go by, because you have access to a power that you can create anything in your mind. So why would you create more of what already existed? If the past was already a struggle, why would you use your most powerful ability to think more of what already happened and to create more of what already happened and not use it to make what it is that you want to make, right? You could use your imagination right now and just envision yourself just living on a beach and relaxing each and every day and just thinking how amazing life is. You can have a life like that, right? There's people who live that way, who literally live on a beach, and every single day they can enjoy the beach. If that's what you want, you can create that. And that might be so far from where you are right now currently, but that's okay because you're using your power to create a new future, right? So I'll just wrap up the video and leave you guys with that. Just highlighting once again, your past does not dictate the future. If you have negative opinions about yourself, if you've had negative experiences in the past, right? That's okay. There's no need to panic. Just know that you can begin with a clean slate and you can turn things around for the better. You don't have to accept how things have been and basically wave the white flag and accept that that's what the rest of your life has in store for you. Believe that Better days are ahead. Believe that opportunities exist right where you stand, and there's going to be so many more opportunities for you in the future. Believe that you are going to have such a phenomenal life, and believe that your best days are yet to unfold. And you'll wake up jumping out of bed, excited, eager to take on the day, because your future is going to be so much better. So apologies for the ending. My voice is raspy because I lost my voice a day or two ago. So that rest of the video, enjoy the video, to leave a like and subscribe. Sorry guys, as I'm on the road to 1 million subscribers. So once again, it's Joel, and I'm out. I'll see you guys for the next video.